The exhibition focuses on the things of war in daily life and daily life in war to symbolize the uncanny tomorrow. And the concept of war isn't just about the physical gunpowder or military conflicts, but it's also about pandemic or unequal distribution under the capitalism or climate change and more. In fact, we are living in a kind of a state of war in our living. And the normalization of conflicts seems to be a regular part of our life.
The artist Yuan Goang-Ming was born in Taiwan and raised in Taiwan and currently living with his family in Taiwan. So he was educated actually in Germany, and because at the time he couldn't find a kind of a major or university that specialized in image making with motion pictures, so he came to Germany to study. And then he started his career as one of the very early video artists and also as a pioneer in Taiwan. And I remember seeing his work many years ago and got struck by that, but never thought that there's one day that he and I will work together. Yeah, so, and also that he was born to a family that was part of the result of the World War II, particularly the China Civil War, that his dad has to follow the army and to settle in Taiwan, but was not able to return to the mainland, to his hometown for decades. So that has always been this kind of haunting sort of trauma throughout the family. But it became more so as the situation in Taiwan continued to escalate, and also Yuan Goang-Ming himself has become a father.
There's a new work with the title Everyday War. It's a single channel video with the title Everyday War, as same as this exhibition. And you can see this video is a room, it's a mere single room. And then in this room is will happen a lot of explosions, and to the end, the room will be a ruined place. And then, because the video is a seamless loop video, so we'll look to the beginning, and the beginning is nothing happened. Yeah. This work actually is a continuation from everyday maneuver. So from everyday maneuver to everyday war. And also it's a continuation from dwelling. The video installation with the sofa, that piece, it's a continuation from dwelling. That a metaphor, a home, is no longer a stable concept. Because the dwelling, this work, it is in my solo exhibition with title the Uncanny Tomorrow in 2014. And if in German it's unheimlich morgen, right? Uncanny, unheimlich. And unheimlich, if we understand through the German, maybe easier, because unheim, just like as a English, unhome. So that means the uncanny is related to the home.
Like I said, I started to get to know his work probably around 2016 when there is a large survey show about Taiwan's video art that took place in Taipei. That was the first time I think I saw the work, but I didn't really put two and two together because there were quite a few impressive works there. And then 2019, I was in Tokyo. I was visiting the Mori Museum, and I just stumbled upon the 561 hours of occupation. I was completely struck by that. I was totally just crying in the exhibition because what it was showing on the screen was 2014, the Sunflower Movement that took place in Taiwan. But in my head, I was also thinking about what was happening in Hong Kong when the young people also got into the Legislative Hall. But very different destiny. One is triumph, victory, and really the material change. And then on the other hand, that in Hong Kong, it was really like very traumatic for many of us watching the event, how it unfolded. So at that moment, I was preparing for another exhibition in the United States. So I immediately contacted the artist and asking if we could borrow the work for the exhibition. So that's how we started to know each other. But we have never met until last year when we did the site visit here in Venice. So yeah, and then also of course because of COVID. So the first time we met, we already kind of felt like friends, old friends, and we know each other for a long time. Yeah.
I was the fine art student in college in Taiwan, and when I the second year during the study in college, I shift my art from traditional art to video, because the biggest difference between the two forms is video is time-based art, and the medium allowed me to make more experiments and along with the new technology. At that time we have the tape camera with the tape. Yeah, we have, but we don't have class. We don't have teacher can teach the video art. So I just learn from the film, learn from the experimental film, that's all. And sometimes from the magazine, Nanjun Pike, or yeah. And then I went to Germany. I got the DAD scholarship and started at the Hochschule für Gestaltung in Karlsruhe for 2 years and a half. And I have the more deep and more professional knowledge about the medium kunst, medium art. Yeah.
Funny that you mentioned that how Taiwan is known as a high-tech center with its semiconductor, while the Taiwan's artist not necessarily known to use high tech with their creativity. But it's very important actually to know that there's this one side that is of course driven by market, that how Taiwan is known for, for its technology and semiconductor. And I think that this is a highly invisible part about artists from Taiwan, that their work is not known. And especially as you have seen in this exhibition, what an outstanding artist Yuan Goang-Ming is. And the fact that he is so lesser known around the world is still, a puzzle to me. And I really hope that this show can elevate, the awareness and acknowledgement of the excellence of Taiwan's artists.
Yes. New technologies are very important for the moving images because they bring more new possibilities and the new way to express the new moving images. Yes, yeah. Positive. For me, it's two situations. For example, video as a medium or video as a tool. For me, video is a medium. So it's not only just tool. I need to explore and also make a lot of experiments for the technology. So, of course, you should very carefully to use such technology. Yeah.
I really, really appreciate and value the compliment, and also I'm gladly taking it because I think that we really put on a fantastic show, and especially the artist and his team, I feel like they have given everything they got. Having that said though, I feel like particularly this Venice Biennale, and I haven't been to that many, but definitely a few, I'm also now flattering the Venice Biennale because I'm part of it this time. I do think we're seeing a paradigm shift. We're seeing so many unknown names. We're seeing so many, I would say, venues outside of the Giardini or Arsenale that being recognized and people see their value. My friends went to the few venues and different pavilions outside. The Nigerian, I want to give a shout out to my friends in Nigeria, and also ourselves, Taiwan. And I felt like people are starting to make that mind switch. People are starting to become more aware that there are really excellent work out of the norm. And we're very happy to present this work, this body of work, which we think is very strong, and it got sort of confirmed over and over by our friends recently, just in these past few days. So I do feel like there's a larger, paradigm shift that we're observing, and we are bear witness to. So I feel like the timing is really, really good. I also felt like we're fortunate and unfortunate in this kind of a moment of our history where people started to have awareness, and that at the same time, everything is becoming more intense.
It's hard to explain or hard to say how I get the ideas, but normally most of my works came from my personal experiences in my life. And yeah, you can see some works looks very political, but something like such works is I don't usually seek out such very political work, opposite such political events came to my life and forced me to address them. So some ideas is something like this. It's just like, it should make me.
I think the artist Yuan Goang-Ming has the ability to transcend the poetic with intensity, with danger, with violence, in the way that doesn't romanticize it, but serve as a cautionary tale for people to contemplate on. And I think that's very important. I think we have seen enough violence, and we have seen enough patronizing and romanticizing of violence, but I think that he always starts with this very calm place and with this very imagined sort of violence, so that it's in a controlled, safe environment for us to reflect upon. And I think this is particularly important for people who are living in peace. If you're living in war, I don't think there's necessity to watch it over and over again. But particularly for people who are living in peace, I think that kind of a cautionary tale is always necessary, and it takes someone who is very skillful and creative to share that in the environment that we probably forgot about the danger. And I don't know, that's kind of how I feel totally as a audience, and I always look at the artwork first and foremost as an audience.
In the past years, the core of my creative works actually is many similar. It's all about the home and all about the uncanny tomorrow. But the way how to make my works is always change. For example, sometimes I will use the cable can system, or sometimes I will invent it myself for the new technology for myself, yeah, and so on. But mainly the core of my creative idea is still similar. It's about home and the uncanny tomorrow, yeah.
I think for this Venice presentation, the Everyday War, the fact that it was actually taken place in this 100-year-old prison, and this prison used to be for entrapment, torture, and suffering, is turned into a space for freedom of expression and creativity, in particular for the artists of Taiwan. I think that is actually in itself a really liberating message that I really hope the world to feel, and maybe in a brief moment, even with such heavy history, we can all feel free.